Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today I have a special guest. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us about you?
Hello, my name is Mary Gonzalez. I am a 54-year-old mother, grandmother of two, on a life journey. Ended a 26-year toxic marriage, moved from one state to another with nothing but a suitcase, wrote a book in the process, didn't know I was a writer. And now I live a life of service, continuing to share my story in the hopes that it inspires many, motivates many, creating my own ripple effect in this world. And keep hand in hand with God and let him continue to guide me where I need to go. And enjoying life for the first time, living my life for the first time in a very long time. Yeah.
What is your genre and what attracted you to that genre?
I think my mother was a big inspiration for this book. My mother was a woman of great faith. The spiritual genre was because of my mom. Not that I wasn't a woman of faith, but I didn't know about my faith. I wasn't enlightened about my faith. I didn't know I had a purpose in my faith. And my mother, not knowing really what she did aside from being a mother and raising me and my sister, she was very involved with a church. Her biggest dream was to be at God's side, and I didn't understand that comment. Why would you want to go be with God? And I never got it. Going to Catholic school for 7 years, it was never something that I was taught or learned, and I didn't understand until she passed away. And at her services, I got to see the kind of woman that mother truly was, the impact that she had on everybody sitting in that church, coming to pay their final respects, and how involved she was and how much she truly loved God and how much she was loved by many. And she always tried to get me to go to church, always tried to get me to go on retreats. And I was dealing with things in my own home that she didn't know about, that I didn't tell any about. So I always said no. And so I think me picking up right where she left off, continuing this spiritual journey, this journey of service, this journey of walking in God's steps and being obedient in my faith, despite the situation, despite the goings on. That's what led me to select that genre. Yeah.
What is your purpose? You was talking about your purpose. What is your purpose?
Yeah. My purpose is to continue living in obedient faith, difficult as it may be. We are tested time and time again, but continue being obedient in my faith and do as God wants me to do, not what I need to do. And that involves a lot of giving back in whatever way I possibly can. And just doing what he wants, not what I want, because what I want and his needs are very different things. And I need to do what he wants me to do. And in doing that, God has placed some amazing people in my life that I never have a need for anything. I always have what I need, work towards things that I want to accomplish in my life, if that's what God so desires me to do. And so it's this continual journey process of walking in obedience and doing right by him. Because at the end of the day, he's the only one I need to be held accountable to, not anybody else. And I want to make sure that I'm living in the way that makes him proud.
Amen. Now briefly, give us a synopsis of your book.
My book goes into great detail of what it was like to be in a 26-year toxic marriage. It's a short read, but very detailed. A little bit of my upbringing, because that plays a big part into my mindset and my thought process as a little girl going into teenage years and going into marriage. Raised very strict. I did as I saw. You never questioned your parents and you just did what you were told. And that's how I continued to live my life, and not knowing my mother was a victim of abuse herself until years later, because I was going through it. And then I remembered the moments that she had. It talks about my upbringing, the strictness of it, the overprotectiveness of it, not seeing a whole lot of things, being naive, going into my teenage years, and then going from home to marriage. There was no dating in between. It was just home to marriage, and discovering the man that I truly married, a year later, into the rest of the 26 years that followed. in detail about instances about discovering the demons that he had that I had no idea about, and how I overcame those, how I left the marriage, decided to be done. And when I began to take care of me, the moment I started taking care of me, things just fell into place. And I understood that that wasn't right. I understood that that's not where I needed to be. I understood that that wasn't the way to live. And at some point in the marriage, I knew that it was time for me to go. And when that time came, I wanted to make sure I crossed every T, dotted every I, that everything was laid out on the table. Let's go to counseling. Let's talk to somebody. Let's go to church. Let's. It was always a let's. It wasn't you need help. I needed the help too. And I didn't even know it, And so it's finding the courage to say enough is enough, and finding the strength to finally go through with it after so many years of taking him back and letting him go, taking him back and letting him go. And I learned that I was accountable for that behavior. I taught that behavior. And so I had to own my responsibility in that.
Mhm. Mhm. What inspired you to write this book?
I wasn't even a writer. My dream was never to write anything. I didn't understand that God was grooming me to become a writer in the process of me posting my weight loss journey on social media. I couldn't write an essay in school to save my life. I really couldn't. I was a terrible writer. But in creating these posts, it allowed me to speak from my heart, and it made writing very easy. And as the weight was coming off, not realizing the following that was ensuing because of this, and understanding that there were more people out there like me, it no longer became about my weight loss. It became about how to help others. And their comments were, you should write a book. And I'm like, why am I going to write a book? I don't know what I'm going to write about. And that comment came 2 other times within in a week period. And for me, things get validated in threes. So when it happened the third time, I began to, okay, well, maybe this is something I need to consider. And it was alive on one of the social media platforms that somebody came into my live and said, you should write a book. And I kind of laughed about it. I said, yeah, I've been told that for years now. I just don't even know where to start, what to do. I'm not a writer. And he says to me, well, I'm co-owner of a publishing company. I would love to invest in your first book. And I'm thinking, this is social media. There's so many lies and deceit out there. So as his name is on the screen, I'm on my laptop printing out his name. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks legit. I still don't know if it is legit, because they can have a fake page too. I didn't know what to believe. So he sets up a meeting for the next day and said, no, this is serious. It was a Zoom meeting in his office with the rest of the staff, introduced me to the editor, the publisher. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I said, okay. And he goes, I'll invest in your first book. You have a story that everybody needs to read. And I thought, oh my God. And so he says, I'll check back with you in a month and see where you're at. At this point, I never even started to write anything. I made little journal entries, and everything was posted on social media. So that was my reference point. And so I thought, let me just sit at this laptop. That was a blessing to me that was given to me on that previous December. This is now March. I thought, oh my gosh, let me just sit out here and see what happens. And it just flowed. It just flowed. And that's how the book came to be, was from this publisher that popped up onto my live and gave me the opportunity. And that's all I needed. I didn't know I had it in me. And in a month's time, it was written. It was a first draft. There was no second, third, or fourth. What I wrote is what I came out, and that's what got sent. I read it the night before I submitted it to the publisher. And I said, wow, this is good. I said, this was really good, I didn't go back and edit. I didn't go back and change anything. Wow. Whatever came is what I typed out. And so I know that was God, totally God, because I'm sitting here just typing. And when the flow stopped, I stopped next day. And I was like that for an entire solid month. I'd come home from work, sit in my corner and just type. I never had that writer's block or any of those things. I just sat and out, it flowed. And when I finished a week before the end of March, end of April, I said, oh my God, I'm done. I still didn't go back and read it. I didn't even tell the publisher I wrote it. I said, I'm done. So 3 days before I sent it, I sat down and I read it. And I was like, oh my goodness. I sent it to him and he says, sis, he knows, this is great. I'm gonna send it to the editor and the rest is history. There was only 5 errors that he wanted to correct. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. English was my worst subject. I couldn't write. And here's a book with 3 corrections only, one shot deal. That was it. It was done. And so blessing, it was an absolute blessing. So he literally got the fire going to go ahead and do it. Because part of me still thought, this is fake. This guy's still not real. There's something's going to pop up, but what a blessing that was. And everything of how the book came to be was a blessing, from the laptop to the publisher coming on to the live, and everything was divinely appointed. It was just aligned in such a way that leaves you to ponder, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But yeah.
What do you think your role is in the literary industry?
Wow. My role is my responsibility to continue to share more of my experiences, not so much of what I've already been through and accomplished thus far. I think people need to see the after. What's she doing now? Where are her new dreams and hopes? Because my dreams and hopes are just beginning. I didn't even know I had these. This just was the catalyst. This was the beginning domino that gets tossed down, and it creates that effect that just keeps dropping them one after the other. It's my responsibility to share my story. It's my responsibility to share my light, to help those to heal that need it. It's my responsibility to talk about what God wants me to do and his importance in my life, and that he exists. There's a lot of non-believers out there, and it's not my job to convince anybody. I'm not a theologian. I'm not some professor. I'm not some psychologist. I don't have fancy initials behind my name, but I have my story. I have my testimony. I'm a walking testimony of what God has done in my life, and that needs to be shared. People need God more than ever, whether they want to accept it or not. In this world of chaos and everything in disarray, I need to talk about God, and that's part of the purpose of me writing. He said, you can write a book. Now let's see what you can do with the next one. And it's going to be dedicated to God because it needs to be known and it needs to be shared. That's my job. That's my responsibility. Okay. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And if they choose to, if just one person can take something from it, I've done my job, because they'll tell somebody else and they'll tell somebody else. And so the ripple effect gets created. That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Mary Elizabeth, what has been your greatest accomplishment thus far in your writing career?
The book. And the fact that people are actually still buying it, that baffles me, that I actually did it. There's a lot of people that write and don't get it published. There's a lot of people that have written stories and just kept them in journals in a drawer somewhere, and not sharing their gift with somebody. My biggest accomplishment is the people that God has crossed in my path, that have helped me through my journey. And God knows your needs, and he knows your hearts, and he knows your desires. And there's no way I could have done this. So I'm grateful to the spiritual awakening that this gift has given me, of this book, and getting my relationship straight with God, make that a priority in my life. Mm-hmm. That has been my biggest accomplishment, is that, and still working on that. And so, yeah, who'd have thunk? Mom's smiling right now because she's like, she finally gets it. She finally understands where I was coming from. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you feel about reviews, whether they're good or bad?
People are going to have their opinion. That's par for the course. Their opinions don't affect what I wrote. What I wrote is coming from my heart, and there's no apology for that necessary. Some are going to like it, some are not, and that's okay with me. Your like is extra. Your dislike, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. There's always going to be somebody that's going to find something that doesn't appeal to them. There may be an atheist that's out there, oh my God, she's talking about God, and it's like, they're not going to like it. I can't please everybody. And as long as it sits well in my spirit and people are reaching out and telling me what this book has done in their life, that's what matters. Not who didn't like it or who has never gone through any of the things that I've been through, So really I sleep well at night despite of what the reviews are. I don't do things for reviews. I don't do things for likes. I don't do things for following. The following comes to me. People come to me as far as the lives, and the people that come, those are meant to be there for a reason, and that's all that matters. Other people's opinions, the ones that don't like it can probably just attract people to the book anyway. Why is it so bad? Yeah, I love haters. They're your biggest cheerleaders. They give you that drive. They give you that, thank you for noticing. Thank you for getting my name out. It's free it's free advertising. Say what you need to say. Let's see how bad it really is. Makes me know, never mind, really. It really doesn't.
Okay. What do you think are the most important elements of good writing?
Good writing. One of them definitely is, I think the most important is speak from your heart. Let your heart, people resonate with how you feel through reading something. If you can't make them feel an experience, something's wrong. And mind you, this is my first book. I wasn't an avid reader prior to any of this. But apparently from what I've been told, it's heartfelt. It's raw. It's open and transparent in this type of book. And do what you feel is right, not what others are telling you to do. Because people are going to want you to write what they want you to write, but then that's not a book coming from you. It's been suggested, oh, you should. I said, no, I already had it. Once I saw it, I know what it was. There was no deviating from that. Just an example with the cover, the design, an amazing designer. Thank you, Todd. To throw out the name. Beautiful, beautiful design. And once I saw it, I knew that was it. The publisher later, after the editing, sends me, part of the deal was to get a cover for the book. And he sends me these images. No, he sends me another one. No, it was immediate. No, I already knew what I wanted. This already encapsulated what I needed to be. And so stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. You do what you do. If you're a writer, write. Let everybody else do what they need to do, but writing, that's you. And that should be expressed. Most definitely. Not easy, but do it.
What was the key message in your book?
That if I can do it, anybody can do it. That it's never too late. I started all of this just before I turned 50, that all things are possible, not just weight loss, not just doing something you've never done before, like writing a book and it being in the top 50. I mean, crying out loud. I wasn't even looking at that, It's never too late. It's the will to want to do something and be willing to do the work that it takes to get something done, because nothing will ever come easy. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be naysayers. The main thing is, if I could do it, then you can do it. Anybody can do it. It's never too late. It's never too late. And I think that's the biggest in any aspect of life, whether it's personal, the marriage, job. If you're not happy about something, do something about it. Do something about it. That's what I hope they can get out of. And it inspires them in some ways, inspires them to create a change in their life, to just do a little shift in your mind that maybe she's got something here. Maybe I could do it too. That's all I can hope for. That's all I can hope for. And so that would be what I think they'll get out of this book. Definitely. Any age. I would love young ladies to read this, because in this day and age, there's teenagers going through what I went through for 26 years at 18, at 15, at 12. And if they can see it now and not wait till you're 50, what a blessing that would be. My goal is to have young ladies read this book, because 9 out of 10, I'm sure that they're going through something already. some type of abusive relationship. Yeah, they need to know. They need to know. But yeah.
Can you read an excerpt from your book?
Yes, ma'am. Let me put my little granny glasses on so I can see. And I just randomly opened this up, and this is talking about fear. I was locked up in the four walls of fear, unworthiness, shame, and guilt. The fear of him coming after me to hurt me no matter where I was. I would see how he punched the walls and damage it caused. I can only imagine what that would do to my face. The fear of not being loved by someone else ever again. The unworthiness, not feeling deserving of having better because I felt like I deserved what was happening to me. The shame of what others would think about me because I should stand by my man no matter what was or how I was raised. The guilt feeling, bad man, that if anything ever happened to me, to him, I would not be able to forgive myself because he had threatened to take his own life. If I ever left him, these are all authentic scenarios that played out in my head every time I thought about leaving. So there was a lot of guilt, a lot of fear of what he might have done to himself, not even me. I completely threw myself out of the equation. And I thought, that guilt was his, not mine. And once I understood that that cross was not mine to bear, it was a lot easier to just start distancing myself and not engage. I had to learn to turn him off.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I had to learn to turn him off. Narcissistic behavior, they will never admit to their fault, their wrongdoing. Everything was always my fault. Blaming you for everything, accusing you of things that they're probably doing themselves. It was hard, but I didn't love myself enough to see it. And I didn't love myself enough to let it go. And through the weight loss journey, all of this was discovered. It was revealed to me that this was not right anymore. I wasn't going to give him another 26 years. I wasn't going to give him another 6 months. Self-love is important. It's crucial. It's crucial. The love that I was lacking, I wanted it from him, but he couldn't give it to me. He couldn't give it to me. And you can't get it from the outside. That self-love comes from inside. Mm-hmm. You can't get it from an external source, no matter what it is, a person, place, or thing. You can't. It comes from within. And once you understand that, then you begin to see life through a different set of lenses. Things become more clear. You start to see who people truly are, who your friends truly are. Your insecurities make others feel very comfortable. Your inadequacies make other people feel very comfortable. And I no longer wanted to be that. I wanted to be myself, figure out who I was, what I wanted, what I needed. I never asked myself those questions. I went from home to marriage. What did I know? Got married at 24, had 2 kids by the time I was 26. I was now a wife and a mother. It's like, whoa, and then going through all of this and not telling anybody. I never told anybody about what was going on in our home. There was too much shame, embarrassment that was happening, so you keep it to yourself. So this book was a great release for me. More self-healing continued by sharing it in this way. And I think the more you share your journey, your heartache, your testimony, the healing begins, and it allows you to put closure to many things and forgiving those whose apology you're sitting around waiting for that will never come. Apologize and go and move forward. Keep moving forward, never looking back. And I have no regrets. I really don't. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter because, things that happen like what happened to me can turn people one of two ways. You become bitter, angry, resentful, and you make every person after him just as bad as he was. You make them out to be this bad person like he was. Or, be forgiving and understand that not everybody's that way. There might be some bad apples along the way there as well, but now you're more enlightened. Now you see the signs. Now you're aware. You learned from that. And so you apply that now from that moment forward. And there's always a lesson somewhere. always a lesson somewhere. And yeah, that part.
Okay. What avenues have you taken to market your book?
I have a following on social media, so a lot of it has been on one specific platform. I do posts on my social media. People have come in as yourself who have given me amazing reviews on a platform, and people look at that. I'm my own biggest promoter. You know, it's free, you know, and the thing is, when people believe in what you've done, they will talk for you. They will tell their friend. It's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of passing along of the book. I'm blessed to have a lot of that going on, and the book is still selling. You know, it's going to be a year in July when it was launched, and that it's still a topic of discussion now, almost a year later, is very jaw-dropping to me. I don't know if this is a normal thing that happens on a book, but it's just word of mouth and telling me, not just me telling people, but everybody who has known me or who has followed my story or who has seen me on a live, they tell people about me. And people in Indonesia know about my book. You know, it's like, what? Are you kidding me? Dubai, other countries and places I've never been. And so the word's getting out. The word is getting out. I would love to do a book signing at some point. You know, maybe it's not this book, maybe it's another one. I don't know. But when the time comes, when I do my meet and greets, you know, like when I go to California, there's a lot that purchase the book through an Amazon link and don't have the book signed. So I'll be meeting them there and signing their book. And that will probably prompt up again, revive it again, you know. And so that social media has been so beneficial to me, that it's opened many doors, and I'm blessed that many people want to meet me. And when the time comes, I will. And my social media platforms, it's an extension of my voice and everything I do. And that's pretty much all the advertising that I've been doing with the book, you know.
What are you currently working on right now?
Oh my goodness. Ideas for another book, you know, the aftermath, the possibly a devotional type journal book. I read devotionals every morning on my morning lives. I do 2 lives a day. A morning I do a devotional, and people said, why don't you have your own? I'm like, here we go again with why don't you? So it's like, okay, I never thought I could doubt it either, but you know what? I never thought I could write a book. So for now, I'm just writing ideas on a notebook that I have with me, because I want to write this one till the wheels fall off. I'm enjoying this one and just basking in the moments that this book has provided me. And definitely a new book. I'm a crafter, so I've been recently making cards and scrapbooks. That's another outlet for me that enables me to use my brain other than just focusing on creating an empire that I always like to call my websites or my podcasts and things like that. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. And actually, there is no limit to the sky. So whatever God has for me, you know, I'm willing to just pick up and move. I'm a gypsy soul of sorts. You know, I am, the blessing that I have is I can pack up and go anywhere I want at any given moment. Somebody says, here, come down here, I'm gone. It's just that easy. And coming from a place where I never traveled, I've never been out of my home. I've never been out of the radius of my home to my job, like a lab rat, going around in circles in my little space. Now I have this absolute freedom of, I can just get up and go. I think what a blessing that is. Not too many people can say that, but I've paid my dues as far as I've raised my children. I've done what I could as the mother, as the sister. You know, I'm still a grandmother, still a mother. That's a role that I will never, you know, give up.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time for me. I've dedicated my life to for many years, making sure everybody else was okay, that everybody was good. And I kind of fell to the back burner. You know, I didn't even know what I want. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what made me happy. And now that I can invest time in me, that's the greatest gift, and not be in a hurry to start relationships and go out on dates. That was never my thing. Like, why you want to send me on a date? I'm still married. So wrong. You know, I needed to figure out who I was. So 3 years after the divorce, investing in me. in every aspect of, and it doesn't involve dating. It involves internal answers to my questions, getting my relationship straight with God. That's the only relationship that concerned me. Let me get it right with him, because the rest is already taken care of. I don't have to worry about what's next. I don't have to worry about a list. I don't have to worry about the next thing. They literally just fall in my lap. And we know that's just another blessing, and I was like, okay. And so living my life like that, I've loved it, absolutely loving it. And I'll keep doing it until God says it's time. It's time to this is where you need to be. I said, all right. So I'm waiting for the call. I'm just sitting and wait. That's all I can do. Be obedient in my faith. That's my only job here on earth, is be obedient in my faith and serve and wait on him. Mm-hmm. Patience was my word of the year last year, and it jumped into this year too. Patience is something I had struggled with. I'm no longer in a rush to make decisions. I'm no longer in a rush to do anything. Everything happens in its time. And I'm really good with that. Really good with that. Talk about stress reliever. Why am I worried about things I have no control over? I can't control anything but me, the decisions I make, and how I react to situations. That's it. Other than that, what everybody else thinks or does or says, none of my concern. I'm not going to worry about it. What happens at the job? What are they doing? What are they not doing? Not my job. Not my job. Not my concern. I can love on you and I can pray on you, and that's it. Your crosses are not mine to bear, and I think a lot of us, it's very difficult to say no to people because how they will react or what they will think of us, or because they'll no longer be your friend. Well, that wasn't a friend to begin with, but they're upset because you said no. And you got to create boundaries and standards for yourself. And that's the other thing. I've learned who I will allow at my table and who can watch from a distance or at a whole nother balcony. Not everybody is meant to be sitting with me. I can't take everybody with me. And I do pray daily that God removes those that are out to harm, who are not benefiting what he wants me to do. I don't want anything disrupting that, and to leave the path clear for those that need to be in my life, who I will play a part in their journey and theirs in mine, and however that plays out, how God decides. And that's it. It's a pretty simplistic kind of lifestyle. I no longer make plans, agendas, schedules. I don't do that. The only things that are certain are the trips when I go to California and back, but in the in-betweens, I don't make plans. I really don't. And that's less stress on my end. I don't have to try and do 200 things and no, let me just take it in stride. Let me enjoy. We're designed to enjoy life, have an abundant life, not a stressed life. And I think those are all choices that we've made along the way. We are now, from the decisions that we have made before, in the past, we are a direct result of that. God can't be blamed for that. That's our decision. He gives us the gift of free will. We choose every time. And we have to be willing to accept the consequences. No matter the decision, good or bad, there's going to be a consequence. And we can't blame others for the decisions that we made. And so, yeah.
Okay, can you show your book and then tell us where to find you and your books? Your book?
This is my book, Claiming My Soul. It's available on Amazon.com. It's available on BarnesandNoble.com, Lulu.com, Target.com. It's available in paperback and in digital form. So if you have Kindles and things like that, you can download it. And it's still going well. I'm going to order some. So if you want a personalized signed copy, I can do that as well. Or if you order it through one of the sites, when I meet you, I can sign it then. But it's still doing pretty well on Amazon. So it's out. That's the main hub, if you will. But this is my pride and joy. This is my pride and joy. The beginning of something amazing. But thank you for asking.
Yes. Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
if you're not already following me on social media, you can find me everywhere. I don't tweet. That's about the only thing I don't do is tweet. If you need words of encouragement, inspiration, all I can do is pray for you, and I hope that you come and check out some of my content, on Insta, Facebook, TikTok. But I encourage you all to be kind. This world is in such chaos, in such disarray, so many things unknown. Let's just start by loving one another. Let's just be kind to one another. Let's just smile to one another. Just address one another while you're walking down the street or in the office. Just say hi. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know the path that they have walked or the journey that they're on. And a simple hello, whether they respond or not, do it. It's being kind doesn't cost anything. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, if you're affluent or not. We're all human beings and we all bleed red, period. I think if we just learn to love one another and just be kind, that share your story, whatever it is, share your story, because your story is somebody's compass to their life. Your struggles are somebody's answer to their prayer. Hearing you speak your story and sharing your testimony will allow some and others to heal in some kind of way. Nobody needs to know that they're going alone through anything. Everybody's gone through something or has been going through something and has overcome something. Be somebody's light at the very end of their dark tunnel. That's the simplest thing that we can do. Share your story, share your gift. It's meant to be shared, not stored away somewhere and hidden under piles of notes and books and put in drawers and boxes. You need to share it. So share your story. Be proud. Don't be ashamed.
Yeah.
Own it. You went through those things for a reason, not just for you. You went through it so that you can share it to somebody else who's going through it and give them hope. Inspire them. You'll never know who you can affect. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. And you don't even realize the lives that you can change, that you can impact just by sharing your story. People think they don't have a say in this world. People don't think they can make change because it's just me. You can be sharing your story here in Indiana, and it can be in China in a moment of seconds, or in other countries that don't even have the capabilities that we have here. So don't tell me you can't affect change. That's nonsense. You can. We all can. And if more of us do it, you'd be surprised. Yeah. But thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to share. I'm truly honored. I'll be basking in this after this is done and thinking, oh my God, this is just like the coolest thing. It's just, I bask in moments. I have to, because it keeps me grounded. It's like, wow, what a beautiful thing that just happened. And I pray that whoever needs to hear what I said today or what God has given me to say can reach people that need it. And that's my hope. That's my hope, that it helps. Yeah, you'll make me cry.
Well, thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's an honor. It means a lot. And I truly, truly appreciate you for the invitation. And I'm absolutely honored. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Well, this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.
Bye.